HBO has produced some of the best TV shows ever, but how does its horror movie catalog hold up? After doing some research, I found that HBO catalog consists of just over 80 horror movies, whereas a service like Shudder has over 600. But is this a situation where it's quality over quantity? We're about to find out. Welcome in. If you're seeking help in choosing what horror movie to watch tonight, you're in the right place. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you found it useful. I'm including a link to subscribe to Max in the description as well in case any of these movies tickle your fancy. Let's get into it. The Host is a South Korean creature feature made by the same guy who directed Parasite and Snowpiercer, Bong Joon-ho, and it is one of my favorite horror films of all time. It came out back in 2006, and it's kind of had its ebbs and flows of popularity throughout the years, and deservedly so. In The Host, an American pathologist orders his Korean assistant to dump over 100 bottles of formaldehyde down the drain, which eventually leads into the Han River. This contamination creates a giant, scary, mutated, amphibious creature that decides one day to wreak havoc on the surrounding area. Caught in the middle of this is the Park family, which consists of a man, his daughter, his father, his brother, and his sister. Together, he and his father run this little snack shack that is in the park where the attacks happen. During the attack, the man's daughter is captured by the creature and taken into the labyrinthian sewers surrounding the park. The family must fight and break into the now restricted park area to retrieve his daughter while they can. The inspiration for this film actually stemmed from a real-life event that happened in 2000 where Americans commanded the disposal of formaldehyde down a drain leading to the Han River. Go America. This is perfect for fans of creature features and Korean cinema. It's not going to let you down. The creature design does give sci-fi original at times, but the storytelling and drama more than make up for it. Black Swan doesn't get the recognition it deserves as a horror movie, but is very much a psychological horror film, and it is one of the best in existence. It maintains an 8.0 rating on IMDb, so critics and audiences alike revere this movie. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky, who also directed movies like Requiem for a Dream and Mother. Nina, played by Natalie Portman, is a talented but unstable ballerina on the verge of stardom. Pushed to the breaking point by her artistic director and a seductive rival, Nina's grip on reality slips, plunging her into a waking nightmare. So basically, she wants to get this role in an upcoming production as a ballerina, and Mila Kunis comes in and rivals her, and Natalie Portman just feels this immense pressure to outperform Mila Kunis. If you're intrigued by a character's struggle to exceed at their profession, a la Whiplash or The Wrestler, you'll dig this one. Both Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis lost like 20 pounds to look more like ballerinas in these roles, which is problematic in more ways than one, but it kind of shows their dedication to the film and the believability of their characters. Black Swan is a hauntingly beautiful outing by Aronofsky. The performances by both Portman and Kunis are perhaps the best in both of their careers. This is just one of those harrowing stories where you see the main character's descent into madness. Look, if you're not sold yet, you get to see Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis make out, but you didn't hear it from me. In case you live under a rock and haven't heard, we lost one of the best creative minds to ever exist back in January, and David Lynch. He was a unique director. He created Twin Peaks and made films like Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Blue Velvet, and this horror classic, Eraserhead. If you're unfamiliar with Lynch's work, you've got to know that he was heavy-handed in the surrealism. There's even a coined term in filmmaking named after him. If something is Lynchian, it means it's dark, ominous, and surreal. And Lynch would really bring about this crossroads of that surrealism with everyday, mundane, boring tasks, which gave his work that unique characteristic. And that is exactly what we do get in Eraserhead, where we're thrust into an industrial cityscape and introduced to Henry Spencer. Now, Henry is a hardworking man who suddenly finds himself solely responsible for his girlfriend's recently birthed deformed baby. It looks nothing like a human, so we're unsure exactly what it is. The movie is Henry's journey adapting to and dealing with this newfound fatherhood. The movie combines Hallmark visuals with an evocative oral landscape to make a delicious audio-visual salad. There are a lot of sexual themes throughout the movie, as well as the idea of taking control of your life rather than being passive and just letting things happen. This movie is in black and white, and if you've never seen anything by David Lynch before, you are in for a wild ride. There is a better Lynch film on Max right now, Fire Walk With Me, but that requires viewing of the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, whereas with Eraserhead, you can just jump in, which is why I included Eraserhead instead. Malignant is a real fun, wacky time, and it's brought to us by James Swan. You might know him, he gave us masterpieces like Saw.
He wants us to cut through our feet.
The Conjuring.
There's someone here that would like to talk to you.
Furious 7.
Oh.
Malignant is nothing like those movies, but it's still good. So Madison starts having these visions of people's deaths, only to find out soon after that these people are really dying. But why is she having these visions, and are they real? Are they connected to someone from her past? Did she take a few too many edibles and start tripping, and these are just drug-induced hallucinations? I'm just kidding. That's not what it is, but can you imagine? Madison states that there's this being that she refers to as the devil that she claims is getting closer and closer to her after each and every kill, but will he ever catch up to her? Malignant is truly one of the most unique horror movies in the past 20 years. The scares are on point, the visual effects are on point, and it is just a home run, if you ask me. Evil Dead Rise is the most recent entry into the Evil Dead universe. It's a standalone film, so it's not really related to the others. It was originally supposed to be streaming only on HBO Max, but it did so well in screenings that they gave it a theatrical release, and I bet they're glad that they did that because last year, 2023, it brought in $147 million, making it the highest grossing of the Evil Dead franchise. Okay, now that I've sold you on the vanity metrics, let's get to the plot. Evil Dead Rise follows two estranged sisters who reunite, but their family time together is quickly interrupted when they discover an ancient book that releases bloodthirsty demons. They live in this high-rise apartment building, which hence the title Evil Dead Rise, so you can think of this as like Evil Dead, but in a high-rise apartment building. So the sisters must fight to survive against this evil force, and it turns their home into a gory battleground. This movie is universally praised and even won a bunch of awards at the Chainsaw Awards hosted by Fangoria, so there's a high chance you'll enjoy it. Carnival of Souls was released in 1962. It's in black and white, and it's a psychological horror. I wouldn't call this movie inherently scary, as it boasts more atmosphere than jump scares, but it's an interesting look at how horror was in the 60s. It took a while for this film to get any recognition and love, but it's regarded as a classic today. So plot-wise, after a traumatic accident, this woman relocates to a small town to start fresh, but she soon finds herself drawn to a mysterious, abandoned carnival. She's haunted by eerie figures and a mysterious man who seems to stalk her wherever she goes. Carnival of Souls is for fans of Twilight Zone, the OG Night of the Living Dead, and even David Lynch's surreal horror work because of its dreamlike dread. It's a low-budget flick, and it proves that atmosphere can be just as effective as jump scares, and the incredible organ score contributes to that fact. Complex Magazine has it at number 39 on its list of the 50 scariest movies ever made. Slant Magazine placed it at number 32 on its 100 best horror movies of all time list. The film has also been named a precursor to the works of various filmmakers like David Lynch, George A. Romero, and James Wan, and there hasn't been an attempt to remake this classic quite yet, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Ethan Hawke is one of my favorite actors, and he brings his A game in Sinister, which has some of the scariest scenes in a horror movie ever. You've probably seen this one, but if not, shoot it to the top of your watch list, and even if you have seen it, it's time for a rewatch. Hawke plays a controversial true crime writer who finds a box of Super 8 home movies in his new home, revealing that the murder case he is currently researching could be the work of an unknown serial killer whose legacy dates back to the 1960s. So the Super 8 footage that he finds in his house kind of introduces the found footage subgenre into this movie, which I absolutely love, and the scenes that we see from those Super 8 movies are like some of the scariest scenes that you'll see in this movie. Some people think that the third act falls apart for them in this one, but I don't think it really takes away from the quality of the film. I think it was dubbed like one of the scariest movies ever recently, and so yeah, it's still highly worth the watch. But yeah, Sinister is going to really just kind of chill you to the bone and get under your skin, and it's not one you'll soon forget. The Strangers is a home invasion film that was perfect as it was, so of course America decided it needed a poorly done remake. Do not go watch The Strangers Chapter 1, it's dog shit and you do not need to go see it. Watch the original Strangers over on Max right now. It stars Liv Tyler, she's the main character, and it's about her and her fiance, boyfriend. I think they might just be boyfriend and girlfriend because he's planning to propose to her. Anyways, they get home from like having a really bad argument, and then Liv Tyler finds out that this guy was going to propose to her, and yeah, these three masked strangers just show up at the house and terrorize them for the rest of the evening. It's a very simple, straightforward plot, but the way that it's done is just, it brings to light a terrifying real possibility, which is what makes this film so scary, is that it could really happen. And I'm sure it has happened. But yeah, there's really not much else to say about this film. It came out back in 2009. 2008. Like I said, it's super simple, great performances by Liv Tyler and everyone else in it. The mystery and intrigue behind why these masked intruders are picking them that night is just kind of the big crux of the movie. And yeah, just so many parts of this work really well, and it's a great movie to watch. Just make sure to lock all of your doors before you hit play. Splice. Oh, Splice. Splice is kind of my wild card that I'm throwing in here, and only because I recently realized that it has the same director as the best horror movie ever made, Cube. The movie is also absolutely insane, and yes, I'm well aware that this movie gets a lot of hate. So Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley play two brilliant scientists who are willing to do anything for a scientific breakthrough. Their research team is working with splicing together different animal DNA to create hybrid animals. Of course, once they find success with that, these two want to take it a step further and add human DNA into the mix. Their higher-ups forbid them from doing so, and of course, naturally, they don't listen and go through with it anyway, creating this hybrid humanoid that they then take care of. And yeah, let's just say that they take care of it. Think of it as the body horror classic The Fly mixed with the oft-forgotten sci-fi horror movie Species from 1995. It combines that idea of altering human DNA with the sexual undertones that are beneath the surface of Species. Okay, maybe they weren't exactly beneath the surface. That wasn't a pretty horny movie, but that's beside the point. Throw in Ex Machina in there with the ethical dilemmas that these characters are presented with, and out pops Splice. This movie holds nothing back, especially in its third act, and whether you love it or hate it, it's one that will stick with you for a long time. Similar to Eraserhead, Splice is kind of a bringing to light the fears of parenthood through a horror lens. You didn't think I'd leave you without a good found footage movie, did you? Troll Hunter is a PG-13 Norwegian horror flick, and it's by the same director who did The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and The Last Voyage of Demeter. It's found footage, whoop whoop, and it's about a group of film students who set out to investigate a string of mysterious bear killings, only to stumble upon a bigger secret. Trolls are real, baby. They run into a grizzled, government-employed troll hunter who allows them to film him on his quest to kill one of these trolls. As you can tell, the plot is pretty bonkers, and I would say it's kind of like the Blair Witch Project, Cloverfield, and Rare Exports being thrown into a blender and just kind of seeing what comes out the other end. I love how they interweave Scandinavian mythology with government conspiracy, environmental themes, and of course a bit of deadpan comedy. It feels like a fresh take on the found footage genre, even though it's 14 years old at this point, and the trolls themselves are massive and terrifying. Purge election year seems fitting for the current political climate, as the message behind these movies is becoming more and more relevant as the years pass. Election year sits in the middle of the Purge franchise, its third in a series of 5 movies. In election year, there's a female presidential candidate who is trying to get rid of the Purge. She witnessed her entire family get murdered as a child on Purge night, which is her entire reasoning for doing so. Former Police Sergeant Barnes, who is returning from Purge Anarchy, is hired as security for the senator. Of course, he's played by Frank Grillo, but he's hired because the senator is now a huge target because of her attempts to end the Purge. We also have a B plot, which is we follow a deli owner named Joe, whose main goal on Purge night is just protecting his store since he has no insurance. Don't expect a horror masterpiece going into this, but if you want something with heavy political themes and you like a lot of action in your horror, give this one a try. There you go, fellow horror movie lovers. 11 of the best horror movies streaming on Max currently. Let me know if you've seen them, if you love them, if you hate them, or if you're about to watch for the first time. Remember to like and subscribe because these streaming services are always changing, and this is where you can keep up to date with what is streaming. I gotta say, Max really packs a punch for their limited selection of horror movies. It's not my first choice when choosing a streaming service as a horror fan, but sometimes you just gotta make do. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also, my Instagram is really the only social channel where I'm lacking right now, so if you could go follow me over there, that would be great. I'm trying to get to at least 300 followers over there for something really cool that I want to pursue, so I'm at Nonstop Horror Official over there. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.